And that's the North Melbourne Exchange there. That's it. That's it.
So they couldn't get your calls from there to here?
Yes, and the worst part is I sit in my office every day knowing my phones weren't ringing and knowing the calls over there, because from my office I had the same view.
Scorer's problem was also with his local exchange in North Melbourne, getting the calls through to what should have been a thriving courier business.
I was saying they'd been ringing us for 2 or 3 hours, and either they were receiving our phones were ringing out, or they were getting an engaged signal as though all our lines were busy. And Telstra always said that I was the only person in North Melbourne experiencing this problem.
We now know he wasn't.
Did you think that Graham Scorer had a case against Telstra when you looked at the evidence?
Oh, certainly had a case.
Lindsay White was the Telstra technical expert given the job of examining Scorer's claims.
Why was he continually told there was nothing wrong?
I wouldn't know that.
Lindsay White was one of the dozen people assembled to fight Scorer and maintain the fiction. Telstra's direction was clear: stop the COT cases at all costs to prevent a flood of litigation.
Stop at all costs. It was used, that phrase. To me, we've got to stop the floodgates being opened. There could be all sorts of problems as far as litigation. And that's what they're doing there to try and... We're trying to stop that happening.
That instruction, says White, was given by this Telstra manager, Peter Gamble, someone the Victoria Police should also have questioned, but haven't.
Hello?
Hello?
Are you Peter Gamble?
Yes.
You were dealing with the COT cases at Telstra, weren't you?
So?
As we'll see, there are serious questions about the evidence Peter Gamble has given in this case. There's also the question of a mysterious box in Gamble's office that Lindsay White gave evidence about to the Senate 5 years ago. That was a box of documents in Peter Gamble's office that was not made available, or Peter Gamble said, and I quote, "It's staying there."
He had a box of documents in his office that hadn't been made available even to us. And
Relevant to these cases?
well, I guess there must have been.
You told Lindsay White that the box was to stay there.
No, I've got nothing to talk about this. I'm sorry?
You also told people dealing with the COT cases.
I think in the early days, I don't think that they had a chance in hell of getting fair play. Certainly, there wasn't a level playing field.
There wasn't?
No.
Across Australia, in fact, a range of ordinary small business people were being snookered by Telstra. The problems with their phones passed off as figments of their imagination or their own fault. Brian Purton Smith once had a party hire business, and when he wasn't in Melbourne, wanted to receive his phone calls at his country home. For 12 months, they kept being diverted to an elderly lady in Caulfield.
And this poor woman was getting calls all hours of the day and night, because we used to give 24-hour service. And of course, you have a wedding or a 21st birthday and you've got no music, well, it ruins the party. So I was pulling out the chequebook and giving customers refunds.
It was the beginning of a long battle with Telstra that eventually sent Brian Purton Smith broke. He once had a wife, the strain of it all obvious when the small business program caught up with them in 1995.
We have nothing left. There's nothing left that anyone can take. So I guess that's good news.
She was obviously very distressed.
Oh, yes.
During that interview.
Yes.
How long after that did she leave?
Well, the farm was sold in about October 95, and when the farm was sold up, well, we'd still been watched it go, she just said, well, you go your way, I'll go mine, goodbye. So off she went.
Brian also once had a son, Simon, who worked with him in the business.
He became very distressed about the whole thing because he could see his world crumbling around his ears, and he just deteriorated. He made several attempts on his life, and then he got involved with heroin and finished up injecting himself on the way home from work one day, and by the time they got him to St Vincent's Hospital, he was brain dead. And that was it.
How much of that do you blame on Telstra?
A lot. Because he worked his guts out in the business. It wasn't a 9 to 5 job. He worked, from 8 in the morning to 11 at night, 7 days a week with me. And he started even as a young kid, working in his spare time. And he just saw everything go.
To be fair to Ziggy Switkowski, Telstra's current chief executive, it was all before his time. But Brian Purton-Smith still wonders, is this what Telstra means when it says the customer is its first priority?
How do you feel about Telstra now?
Just hatred. Pure hatred.
I think it does constitute a dark stain on Telstra's corporate image.
In part 2, evidence that suggests Telstra may have misled not only its customers, but the institutions designed to protect them, the Minister and the Parliament, and the Victorian Supreme Court. Plus the explosive tape that suggests it also misled the Cots arbitrator, the man trying to broker a settlement by getting to the truth.
Telstra withheld evidence of the